Have you ever met someone like this? A dreamer with a fire in their eyes, brimming with bold ideas and visions so grand they seem destined for greatness. They talk endlessly about groundbreaking projects, living in a world woven from possibilities. But somehow, nothing ever materializes. Every setback comes with a polished excuse. It wasn't the right moment. The people didn't get it, or the world's not ready for my genius. Maybe this is someone close to you, a friend from your school days, a younger sibling, your partner, or even your dad. Someone who, no matter how many years pass, seems stuck in a time warp, an adult with the heart and habits of a boy. They're emotionally unpredictable, dodging commitments like they're traps, always chasing some vague idea of freedom while fleeing anything that smells of responsibility. And yet, deep down, maybe you still believe they'll turn things around. Carl Jung gave a name to this pattern: the puer aeternus, the eternal boy. It's the archetype of a man who refuses to grow up, forever hovering in a state of almost ready, always planning to live but never quite starting. He dazzles with his youthful spirit, his wild creativity, his impulsive charm. But there's a shadow behind that glow, a refusal to grapple with the hard edges of reality. The puer expects the world to mold itself to his whims, for others to clean up the messes he won't face. He dreams of the perfect love, the perfect job, the perfect life. And when reality doesn't match his fantasies, he bolts, he withdraws, he abandons ship. Then he dives back into the same loop of unfulfilled dreams, convincing himself he's too unique for the ordinary grind, when really, he's crippled by the fear of failing, of being let down, of growing up. If you've ever tried to help someone like this, you know the toll it takes. You're drained from offering advice they won't take, from giving support they waste, from trying to drag someone forward when they're secretly digging in their heels. And the worst part? They make you feel like the villain, as if you're asking too much by wanting them to step up, to mature, to stop living in an endless not yet. But let's be real, this man you know is stuck. He's caught in a fantasy of freedom that's nothing but a cage of fear and immaturity. And if he doesn't snap out of it, he'll grow old without ever truly living. This isn't a jab, it's a mirror. And if you're still here, it's because something in this resonates. Maybe with someone you care about, or maybe, just maybe, with a piece of yourself. The puer aeternus doesn't have to stay trapped forever, but change only comes when you stare the truth in the face. Let's talk about that. The puer aeternus isn't just a quirky personality, it's a profound archetype, a psychic current running through the minds of countless men. It's often mistaken for charm, spontaneity, or a free soul. But beneath that vibrant surface lies something heavier, an almost primal refusal to grow up. Carl Jung spotted this pattern in his patients and in myths across cultures. The puer is the one who clings to the Eden of childhood, the psychic cradle of the mother where everything is taken care of, safe and sorted. He lives for a dazzling someday that never arrives. He sees himself as the eternal son of the gods, the chosen one, the special one. But in practice, he never takes charge of his own story. You've seen it firsthand. Men who drift from job to job, always searching for something more, who launch projects with fervor but ditch them at the first snag, who fall in love with intensity but ghost when the relationship asks for real effort, who wax poetic about spirituality, freedom, or self-discovery, but can't manage a budget or honor a promise for long. It's not about lacking smarts or gifts. The puer is often brilliant, sensitive, overflowing with potential. He's wired to creativity, inspiration, and imagination. But that's exactly why he's trapped in the realm of ideas, dodging the weight of reality. He wants to fly without crafting wings, to have love without vulnerability, success without sweat, the perks of adulthood without the price of maturity. And when the world doesn't hand him his dreams on a platter, he lashes out, blaming the system, his parents, fate itself, but never looking in the mirror. Jung said the puer aeternus is disconnected from time. He's always in a not now, waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect partner, the perfect phase. He lives in the when, never the today. And because of that, he doesn't live. He merely exists, weighed down by dreams that turn into burdens. But there's another angle to this. The puer, for all his immaturity, carries a spark that's undeniable. He's the source of inner youth, creative fire, the ability to reimagine life. The issue isn't the boy inside the man. It's when that boy hijacks the whole show. And that's what we need to unpack next. When the puer's shine starts to dim and his shadow takes over. Let's explore the dark side of the man-child and how it quietly wrecks everything in its path. There's something magnetic about a man ruled by the puer aeternus. He's light, spontaneous, a dreamer who speaks like a poet and lives like he's untethered from time. He defies rules, shrugs off labels, and seems to float above the mundane. To many, that's irresistible. He feels free, and in a world choked by obligations and routines, who doesn't crave freedom? But here's the catch, that freedom is a mirage. It's a carefully crafted mask to hide what he fears most, reality. The puer isn't free, he's a runaway. He's fleeing pain, failure, rejection, the ticking clock. He's dodging the burden of being accountable for his own life. Every choice he avoids, every decision he delays, every duty he shirks builds the walls of his invisible prison, disguised as independence. You've seen it up close. He says he can't take a normal job because he's meant for something bigger. But really, he's terrified of routine, structure, or being answerable to anyone. He claims relationships are cages that he's too wild to be tied down. But deep down, he's scared of opening up, of being truly seen, of being held to his word. He says he hates rules, but the truth is he doesn't know how to handle limits. This freedom he flaunts is just a childish refusal to face life's hard truths. He wants to stay forever young, untarnished, weightless. So he keeps moving like a kite caught in the wind, never landing. But time doesn't pause, and reality always collects its dues. Jung described the puer aeternus as living in suspension, floating between the heavens of fantasy and the earth of reality. He doesn't want to come down, to plant roots, to deal with the messy, concrete world. But without roots, nothing grows. Without effort, nothing blooms. Without pain, there's no growth. True freedom isn't about escaping limits. It's about choosing what's worth committing to. But the puer doesn't choose. He runs. And in running, he doesn't just sabotage himself. He slowly destroys the people who try to love him. Let's dive into that shadow now, the dark side of the puer aeternus, and see how its promises turn into destruction. At first, the puer aeternus is enchanting. His energy pulls you in. His enthusiasm is contagious. His unpredictability feels thrilling. But as time passes, that sparkle starts to fade. What felt like lightness becomes absence. What seemed like sensitivity turns into volatility. What looked like freedom reveals itself as evasion. This is where the puer's shadow creeps in, subtle but devastating. It shows up in the small, everyday betrayals, forgotten promises, missed deadlines, financial chaos, sudden mood swings, abandoned plans, all wrapped in a poetic excuse. "I'm not ready," he says. "I can't force it," or "I just need more time." But the truth is uglier. He's afraid of growing up, of messing up, of being judged, of being ordinary. So he undermines anything that demands maturity. This self-sabotage doesn't just hurt him, it ripples outward. Partners feel the pain of loving someone who's incredible in theory but absent in practice. He says he loves you, but vanishes when things get real. He talks about a future but never builds toward it. Family members watch in frustration as he squanders talent, intelligence, and chances. Friends tire of propping up someone stuck in the cycle of almost. And through it all, there's a suffocating sense that he's incapable of moving forward, trapped in an endless emotional adolescence. Like every archetype, the puer's shadow feeds on denial. He doesn't see that he's destroying himself. Worse, he thinks others are the problem. He calls the world dull, rigid, controlling. He sees those who've grown up as sellouts, betrayers of freedom. So he isolates himself, believing he's staying true to his soul when he's really enslaved by fear. Jung said, "We don't find light by chasing visions of brightness, but by facing our darkness." The puer's shadow isn't something to reject. It's something to confront. The problem isn't the inner child. It's when that child becomes a dictator, robbing him of a full, real life. And this sabotage has deep roots. Behind nearly every puer is a silent force that feeds his stagnation, the symbolic mother. Let's uncover that hidden dynamic next. How the psychic grip of the eternal mother keeps the puer infantilized, and why breaking free is the only way out. No puer eternus exists in a vacuum. Behind almost every man who refuses to grow up is a quiet presence, sometimes nurturing, sometimes suffocating, that shields him from the world, but also chains him to it. In Jung's psychology, this is the archetypal mother, and when her influence grows too strong, she becomes the devouring great mother, the one who traps instead of frees. This mother might be real, an overprotective parent who did everything for her son, who cushioned every fall, who never let him stumble, but in doing so, robbed him of autonomy. Or she might be symbolic, a partner who becomes a caretaker, a grandmother, a feminine figure who nurtures and protects, but demands unspoken loyalty in return. The puer becomes a man who seeks not a partner, but a mother's substitute, someone who understands him without challenging him, accepts him without pushing him, supports him without limits. This dynamic is cozy but toxic. As long as he's cared for, he doesn't have to act, decide, or grow. He stays in a state of eternal emotional childhood, waiting for the women in his life to fix what he won't face. The call to adulthood. The symbolic mother is often caught in this trap too. She thinks she's helping, loving, but she's fueling a cycle of psychic dependence that drains them both. Jung was clear. The greatest tragedy is when the mother refuses to let the child be born psychologically. Even as the body ages, the psyche stays immature, craving comfort instead of seeking strength. This pattern turns deadly in relationships. The puer falls in love fast, idealizing his partner, piling impossible expectations on her to fill the voids he won't acknowledge. But the moment the relationship demands depth, commitment, or accountability, he's gone. He pulls back, sabotages, or blames her. Deep down, he didn't want a lover. He wanted a mother dressed as one. Breaking this cycle hurts. It demands separation, cutting the psychic cord. But that rupture is what sparks true individuation, the process of becoming whole. Growing up is painful, but staying stunted hurts more. Let's talk about that now. The path to maturity and the inevitable cost of leaving psychic childhood behind. There comes a point when the facade cracks. Unfulfilled dreams become heavy. Failed relationships leave scars. The open horizon of possibilities starts to close, and the man, still ruled by the puer eternus, is forced to face himself and ask, how long can I keep living like I have forever? This is the turning point, where the pain of staying immature outweighs the fear of growing up. But don't think maturing is a gentle process. Jung called individuation the journey to becoming your true self, a psychic birth, complete with pain, struggle, and symbolic death. The first step is letting go of the fantasy. It's realizing life won't wait for you to be ready. that no perfect moment is coming, that no one's going to save you. It's seeing that the real world isn't the enemy. It's the only place where something real can happen. Growing up doesn't mean betraying who you are. It means forging who you can become. But to get there, you have to grieve. Grieve the idealized boy you thought you'd always be. Grieve the life you imagined but never lived. Grieve the promises that never came true. And above all, grieve the symbolic mother. Killing the boy within doesn't mean crushing your creativity, your lightness, or your dreams. It means refusing to let that boy be an excuse to hide from life. It's letting him exist, but under the guidance of the man. Maturity demands building, structure, discipline, consistency. It's saying no when you want to run, committing when you crave escape, working steadily even when inspiration fades, staying present in a relationship even when the honeymoon glow is gone. It's trading the thrill of the new for the quiet power of persistence. And here's the beauty. When the puer is integrated into the adult man, he doesn't vanish. He transforms. He becomes the wellspring of creativity, vision, and intuition, but now channeled by a grounded, resolute psyche that can act in the world. This is true rebirth, when the eternal boy stops running from reality and starts shaping it. But this isn't easy, and it doesn't happen by accident. Many men reach this crossroads feeling lost, drained, unsure where to begin. They know the time for psychic childhood is over, but they don't know how to take the wheel. That's why we're not done yet. Let's speak directly to those standing at this edge, ready to change, but unsure how to start. The moment of truth is here, and the choice to grow is yours. If you've made it this far, something in you feels the weight of this truth. Maybe you see this pattern in someone you love. Maybe you see it in yourself. And there's no shame in that. None. Because all of us, at some point, have been tempted to stay children in a world that demands more. We've all dodged responsibilities, chased shortcuts, hoped life would hand us comfort before we earned it. But the truth is stark and unrelenting. Life doesn't wait. It demands, it tests, and sooner or later, you'll face a choice: to stay trapped in a world of promises or to cross into the world of action. That crossing only happens when you choose to grow, not when you feel ready, not when the stars align, but when you decide with raw courage to stop running. Jung said that if you don't face your demons, you'll meet them at every turn. The puer aeternus is one of those demons, hiding behind the guise of freedom, authenticity, or misunderstood brilliance. But in reality, it erodes your foundation and blocks anything solid from taking root. It won't fade on its own. You have to confront it, name it, integrate it, and choose to be bigger than it. Maturity is what emerges when you stop waiting for a savior and become your own. When you see responsibility not as a cage, but as a path to strength. When 19. When you realize true freedom isn't doing whatever you want, it's having the inner structure to choose what matters and follow through. Now, I want to hear from you. What part of this hit you hardest? Drop it in the comments below. Be real. Sometimes putting it into words is the first step to making sense of it. And if this spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone caught in this cycle who might not even see it yet. This isn't the end. The next video is just as crucial, diving deeper into this puzzle. Keep watching. It might sting, but it will set you free. And that's what counts. Real freedom.